The Lord be with all of you. A reading from the Good News according to Mark. A leper came to Jesus and, kneeling down in front of him, begged him and said, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand, touched the man, and said to him, "I do will it. Be made clean." The leprosy left him immediately, and he was made clean. Then, warning him sternly, he dismissed him at once. He said to him, "See that you tell no one anything, but go, show yourself to the priest. Offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad so that it was impossible for now Jesus to enter a town openly. Jesus remained outside in deserted places, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. My sisters and brothers, for our salvation, the gospel of the Lord Jesus. Felipe, I need your shoulder lest I go down and fall and everybody laugh. And not that you would laugh. Ha, ha, ha. You're laughing already. I can see that. Yes. Thank you for telling me one more. Is there one empty here? I got it. Oh, everybody's a comedian today. Have I told you why I have a boot on? Okay.
Can't see it.
I can't see it. That's even better. I always walk this way. I torn my plantar fasciitis or something like that, so I'll be in a boot for 2 to 4 months, so get used to it. Okay, that's good. Do we have any visitors in this part of the congregation who would be brave enough to tell us who they are and where they're from? No. Any visitors here? Are you waving because you're a visitor? No. Oh, you're waving. The bathroom is that way. Whatever. Any visitors? Yes, ma'am. What's your name and where are you from? Welcome, welcome. Anybody else? Yes. What is your name and where are you from? Staten Island, New York? New York? Where in New York? I know, but do you know, I want to check. Are they lying to us? Is there such a place? Finger Lakes. Oh, I know where that is. I was at the Finger Lakes. Anybody here? Yes, sir. Welcome. Anybody here? I don't want to embarrass people that I know who are visitors, so put your hand up. Yes. Welcome, 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 welcome. One young man, his eyes are on the ground. He knows he doesn't even want to face me. Oh, anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Where are you from and what is your name? New Jersey. Where in New Jersey? Is that beyond? When I go by New Jersey, it's just that expressway. That's all I see. Exit 11. All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Lake Marion. Okay. We'll take your money. We're not proud. Anybody over there? Yes. Yes, sir. Oh, you're far away. Jeez. Someone else had their hand. Yes, ma'am. DeBerry. See, I won't tell Father Peter if you give us your collection today. I won't tell you. For all those who are here who need the help of canes and walkers, you're most welcome. To all of our visitors, a round of applause for all of them. In God's name, the Father,
the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. A young man by the name of Thomas Eric went to the hospital in the early 80s because he felt nauseous and his stomach hurt. They gave him medicine, and then they sent him home. 4 days later, this was in Dallas, 4 days later he went back to the hospital and he was seriously ill. A day after he entered for the second time, they diagnosed him with Ebola. And 4 days later, he died. He contracted the disease when he was home for vacation in Liberia. The landlord's wife was pregnant. They called for an ambulance and it did not come, so he got in the cab with her and in that closed area contracted the disease. She would die 4 days later. The hospital, 2 nurses that took care of him came down with Ebola and they survived. The hospital itself, a huge 900-bed, honored continuously for unbelievable medical service, had 600 beds empty for 2 or 3 months after that because of the fear of Ebola. When we hear the gospel today and the first reading from Jewish scriptures, we get a flavor because of our experience of Ebola, or in a minor way, our experience of the flu epidemic that's going throughout the country, how afraid we are of catching something from someone. And in the Lord's time, leprosy was a condemnation to a living death. You would be socially and religiously excluded. Religiously excluded because you have that disease because something your mom and dad or your grandparents did that displeased God's justice, and now you are being punished for it. We've come a long way from that. We've come a long way from saying leprosy and Ebola is a punishment from God. And yet, we know the fear remains. Jesus' response was not only to say, be clean, and he could have done that, but he actually touched the diseased man, which, according to the law, he became contaminated himself. And in some translations, the word touch is translated, he embraced the man, because he was a son of Abraham, a human being. He took the conventional knowledge and turned it upside down. You and I, in 3 days, will begin the unbelievable season of Lent. You and I, we get better at things when we practice them. I am sure there are not many people here who remember their first crawling steps, or when they walk. They might remember the crawl or the walk of their child or grandchild, but I don't think we remember the first time we crawled, the first time we walked. But now most of us walk, and we do because we practice that. I am sure that we have probably, for every person here, for every couple here, we have people that are employed in hundreds of venues. I am sure that you and I get better at what we do because we practice. Young people probably do not remember the first time they hit a ball or bounced a basketball or caught a pass. But they got better at it because they practiced. You and I get better because we practice. And during Lent, there are 3 practices that are suggested: fasting, abstaining, and doing something charitable. We're going to give you, for those who wish, a book that have daily readings, 5 minutes a day. I'll be making an announcement about that. But the idea of practice. What are we going to do for Lent that will, by practice, make us better? The purpose of Lent is to prepare for the Triduum. The purpose of the Triduum is to prepare for Easter and the Easter season. That's the rationale behind this. So what am I going to do that will help me better prepare for Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday? To give up something, a wonderful practice. To deny ourselves, a wonderful practice. But if you and I are going to deny ourselves and then become the biggest SO-you-know-what in the house, no. Spare me, spare your parents, spare everybody. What am I willing to give up? What am I willing to do? I know I can't have meat on Ash Wednesday and the Fridays during Lent, okay? What are we going to do to make this Lent? Today may be somebody's last day here. For others, this may be the last Lent that we have. Let us not squander it. In a spirit of unbelievable joy, hopefully we enter into a season that will make us better people, that will help us evaluate our religious practices so we don't make the mistake that a leper is an outcast. Get away from me, you got Ebola. We don't make that mistake. We don't, hopefully by practicing, our faith becomes stronger and we become better people toward each other and towards the environment that we meet every day. As we continue with the Eucharist, my prayer, no matter how old or how young we are, we're willing to do some reflecting so that Ash Wednesday, Lent, prepares for the Triduum, prepares for Easter. We become better at anything when we practice. Can we practice our faith this Lent so that come Easter we have something truly to be joyful about? Do you got it?
Yes.
Any questions? Some of you look half asleep already. That's why we're going to stand for the creed, because you'll have to wake up. Please stand.